Hey there, my name is Tom Choske, and I'm running for the State House of Representatives from District 6. District 6 includes communities of Ecorse, River Rouge, and then parts of the city of Detroit, southwest Detroit, Corktown, downtown, even going up to a little bit of the east side. Now, the thing that I love about our district is it is so extremely diverse. We combine the areas, like up on the east side, we've got Lafayette Park, we've got West Village, we've got Indian Village. They've all got their own unique vibes, right? We've got downtown, and now that's a vibe that is really undergoing a lot of shifts, especially over the last 10 years. We've got Corktown, we've got Southwest Detroit, where you've got like Mexican Town in it, you've got the downriver communities of River Rouge and Ecorse. So in terms of one cohesive culture, we don't really have it. But I love the fact that we have so many diverse cultures. We have, a strong African American culture. We have a strong Mexican culture. We have the downriver culture that's a little bit more, gritty and hardworking. We've got the Indian Village, where you've got this just gorgeous history, these gorgeous houses. We've got fantastic resources all throughout the community. We've got these beautiful churches. We've got all sorts of different music venues throughout the area. Inside the district, we've got Little Caesars Arena, we've got Tiger Stadium, we've got, or Comerica Park, I should say. We've got the Ford Field, we've got sporting venues. We've got it all, really. So when I'm going to talk about the culture, I'm not going to say whether or not this is good or bad, but I'm going to say that this is just the culture as it's going. We all know about what Dan Gilbert's been doing in Detroit, and a lot of his development's been focused on just that downtown area, right, that 1 square mile area. So if you're talking about a business that has had a massive impact on the culture, I'd have to say that it would be Quicken Loans. Now, once you get outside of that downtown area, you're starting to see that in Southwest, you got a lot of these smaller businesses, more local businesses that are really adding to the vibe. I mean, you've got your locally owned restaurants and bars popping up. You've got Hacienda Foods, which is, they produce foods and they sell it at grocery stores all throughout the area. So you've got that small business vibe that's really going on. Up on the east side, we're trying to develop more local businesses. I got a buddy who runs Belle Isle Pizza, for example. We're trying to bring back the Mac, if you will. We're trying to get that corridor revitalized with those smaller businesses. We don't have it there yet. And then when you go into downriver, that's one of the big things that we're trying to do in Ecorse and River Rouge is find those businesses to help us revitalize our community. U.S. Steel has been a big employer in the area, but what can we do to augment that? How can we grow beyond just U.S. Steel? The most supportive people that I've gone out and met, been just on the doors. I mean, it's been everybody. It's been older people. It's been younger people. Truly, it's been the people who feel that they've been ignored in the past. It's the people who haven't seen anybody come to their door or give them a phone call or come by their neighborhood block club meeting. Because they're the ones who say, you know what, I got problems, I got needs. There's things that you have to do as a public servant to help me. And I really appreciate your time coming to meet me, coming to listen to me, and hear what it is that I need in order to really succeed. Now, in terms of implementing legislation, I just want to say this. Implementing legislation successfully requires a whole heck of a lot of things to work out in Lansing, especially when it comes to the partisan makeup. You got to make sure, if you're a Democrat, that you got Democrats in power, not only in the House, but also in the Senate and in the governorship. What I can promise to fight for on a legislative basis is lowering our auto insurance rates, and doing so in a way that's fair, that ends the discrimination that's inherent in the system. It's usually called redlining, when just because of your zip code, your education level, your credit score, your gender even, your auto insurance rates are shifted, no matter what your driving record is. And that is patently unfair. That's why we in the city of Detroit, for example, may pay 2 or 3 times what we would if we were just transported into a different zip code, say in Ann Arbor. I want to also work to make sure that we are protecting our public education. My dad was a DPS teacher for his entire career, so I truly believe that public schools are how we're going to really make a difference in the community and help not only our kids, but even our adults who have gotten left behind when we had schools that were under emergency managers be successful in the economy that we've got and get some of these new jobs that are coming through. And then the final area too is fixing the roads, right? We all know how messed up these roads are that we've got. My car's got about 120,000 miles on it. About 20,000 miles came in the last year or so, but let me tell you, the wear and tear on my car has been about 50,000 miles from that, just because of all the potholes out there, everything like that. So what I want to do is go up to Lansing and work with other legislators to move us towards progressive income tax in the state of Michigan to raise more money for the roads. I want to work with legislators to also institute strong standards for how we build our roads. It doesn't make any sense when you go out and you see a crew that's going there and they're, repaving a road, and then 2, 3, 4, 5 years later, that same road that was just repaved is now all full of potholes and falling apart. We need to ensure that we have our work crews working to the highest standards possible, even if it takes more time and even if it costs more money. Really, the entire community. One thing that's been apparent to me from my experience having worked as a staffer in both Lansing as well as in the U.S. House of Representatives was that nothing gets done unless you have the backing of your constituents. Here's a little secret for everyone. We as state representatives, state senators, whatever, we do not know everything, okay? It's truly the people who know what they need, and the people know how to get it. All we simply are, as representatives or senators or whatever, is we are people there with the ability to act. The power comes from the people. The power comes from the community. So when I'm looking to draft legislation, I'm looking to work with people who are experiencing the problems that we're facing, right? I'm looking to work with mothers. I was just talking with a mother yesterday. She got an 8-year-old daughter, right? And so as we were talking, her daughter was reading, doing her homework and everything like that. I want to talk with her about what her daughter's experience is in the classroom before I go and I make any legislation up in Lansing. I was talking with a gentleman about a couple weeks ago, and he was complaining about the road that had just gotten repaved in front of his house 2 years beforehand, but already it's got a big crack running down the middle, and you can start to see at the sides that those potholes are forming. I want to talk with him to make sure that any road funding addresses his neighborhood and not just some roads, some of these major roads, that includes everybody. The number one way to recruit people is by investing in them. And the number one way to invest in people is by giving of your time. It's your most valuable asset to have. So my whole theory on running for office as well as serving people is that you got to be their servant. You got to be there when they call. You got to be there where the people are at. You can't expect them to come to you. So by being out there in the community, by knocking on doors, not just when it's political season and campaign season and everything, but consistently knocking on doors, showing up at every block club meeting, board of police commissioners meeting, any type of community meeting that you got, going into your churches, right? That's how you meet people. And when you meet people and you talk with them and you listen to them, that's the easiest way and the best way to recruit them over to become allies to make the change that we need to see in Lansing. So in my past, I've been a very active participant in the Democratic Party. I used to serve as the Secretary of the Young Democrats of Michigan. I was on the State Central Committee for the Michigan Democratic Party with the 13th District. I also worked with my former boss, Congressman Hanson Clark, on a nonprofit where we work with at-risk youth, kids in that, 14 to 18-year-old range who are at risk of dropping out of the traditional education system, trying to show them the value of learning and the career opportunities that education can really open up for them. So if I'm not successful in this office, that's okay, because I've been involved for a while and I'm going to continue to be involved in much the same way. The thing that I do love about this process is going through and meeting all sorts of new people. I honestly can't even predict, if I'm not successful, what way that I would continue to be involved. But let me tell you, I have met so many fantastic people just out there on the doors and at the community meetings. There's so much need out there in the district that I'm just looking forward to engaging people and continue to engage with them and just see where I might be able to fit in with my talents. Well, I think every politician is going to start out with the first one. The same one's going to be the same. Appropriations. Everybody wants to go up to Lansing and control the money because that's the number one thing that the legislature does, controls our purse strings. But a couple of the areas that I really want to focus on in terms of committees are, like I was talking about, education. Again, coming from a family of educators with my father, my aunt, my grandfather, I mean, even my mom, she wasn't a teacher, but she still worked in the public schools as support staff, right? Education's in my blood, and I want to make sure that I can go up there and serve effectively, helping all the folks who really need to have their voices heard in our public education system. So serving on the education committee is something that's very interesting to me. And look, when it comes to transportation and infrastructure, we need to have strong, experienced voices there to hold these road contractors and Michigan Department of Transportation accountable. So serving on the transportation committee would be something I'd like to do. Now, right now, I'm really focused on our district, and God bless our district. It's extremely diverse, and I'm learning new things every single day. We've got 90,000 residents in the State House District 6. Each one has a unique story, and I am loving learning each of those. That's where I got to have my focus over the next couple months. But after that, what I want to do is take that same approach and bring it out to other areas of the state of Michigan. Once you get elected, no representative, no senator can go up there and do everything on their own. We need a team effort. That means that we from the city, we've got to engage folks from outside the city. Now, I'm not just talking about the suburbs. I mean, we got to get people from Grand Rapids. We got to get people from Ishpeming. We got to get people from Oscoda on our side if we're going to make the change that we need. So going out and doing the same thing, driving out, helping my friends knock on doors out in some of these communities out in the state of Michigan, getting to know some of these personal stories. That's how I want to grow my understanding of the whole state of Michigan. Yeah, so you can find me online. My website is www.votechoske.com, or you can also look me up on Facebook. I'm on Twitter at Tom Choske, TomChoske, and I'm also on Facebook. It is Tom Choske for Representative on Facebook. Okay. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
One sec.
Detroit is Different is where you get information, artistry, history, music, and even comedy. Detroit is Different, a home for the culture of Detroit. Visit online at DetroitisDifferent.com today.